first person who ever stepped, foot on that place. You'll look 360 degrees, you're not going to see anyone else. And then as you wander through, I don't know, a sand dune, for example, and you turn back, there is a table, right, with your lunch that your guide just prepared for you.
Welcome to Luxury Travel Innovators. I'm your host, Adam Deflorian. Today's conversation is with Nicolas Peluffo, CEO of Awasi. Nicolas, thank you for joining me on Luxury Travel Innovators.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks for being here. Can you tell our listeners more about Awasi Lodges and the history of the brand?
Yeah. Awasi started 2007 in the Atacama Desert. That was the first property. A couple of years after we opened, we introduced the private guide concept, which was completely new to the region. And to be honest, I think it's still today very unique around the world. That was an instant success. That's what spearheaded the group's confidence to build into Patagonia in 2013. Then Iguazu Falls in Argentina in 2018. End of 2023, the company was acquired by Grupo Faro Verde. So this is December 23. In December 24, so a year later, they acquired Ponta dos Ganchos in Santa Catarina, Brazil. And now recently in May 25, we acquired Cava's Wine Lodge in Mendoza, Argentina. And as of yesterday, we all became Awasi. So all 5 properties are operating under the Awasi brand. We've relaunched the brand as a new concept, a new voice, a new platform. So we're super excited for this new phase of our life.
That's great. So each of the lodges were previously independently owned and under different brands and now was rolled up under one umbrella?
The 2 new ones that we acquired, yes, they were completely different.
Got it. And how long have you been with the brand, leading the charge?
Well, that's a longer story. As of Awasi, it's been 8 months, super recent. And that happened with the acquisition of Ponta dos Ganchos, which was my family's property. So when I sold to them, we instantly hit it off, shared values, same vision. We had an instant trust that was established between us. And, for me being here and being able to see the next step of this legacy, it's truly an honor. But, longer with Ponta dos Ganchos, that's where I started my career. Okay. I'm in hospitality by fate, I guess. I went to business school. I loved finance, entrepreneurship. Never expected to be in hospitality. And anyway, when my family acquired land to develop a small hotel, I jumped into the opportunity. So I was in development and operations, et cetera. Then later went into finance and technology, and life found a way to bring me back into hospitality. So yeah, it's been 25 years in the making.
And what are you most excited about with this? Just getting into it, 8 months later here, running the organization. What are you most excited about next?
Well, I think the growth, the opportunity. Truly, what attracted me to this opportunity was a dream that I've had for the last 25 years. Right, okay. Essentially, creating this South American brand that would allow people to have a very immersive experience in South America. Different biomes, different regions, different cultures. And, I had never met anyone before who had the desire to do it, the means to do it. And I think this opportunity that we have ahead of us in a market moment that is also very special, right? So when I started coming here at Virtuous Travel Week 20 years ago, people cared about cruises and big brands and big hotels and Miami Beach and Paris. Now it's all about small, independent, authentic properties, regions, experiences. It's a 180, right? So it's a completely different world, and we happen to be at the right spot at the right time. So there's massive responsibility, A, with that opportunity ahead of us, and B, with carrying the legacy that was built before I got there. So I'm super, super excited. We have a phenomenal team that we brought on. We're making a lot of investment in technology, right? I have background on that too. And also a lot of investment in the product. We're investing over $20 million just in these 5 small lodges this year alone.
Okay. What investments in technology are you making?
We are redoing our entire tech stack, all of it, from PMS to POS to CRM to payments to ERP. Everything is 100% integrated, state of the art, brand new, cloud based.
Okay.
I mean, we're getting an opportunity that I think very few hotel companies in the world have, because it's really hard to do everything at
Totally.
once.
It's a lot of work, and it's very hard to do. So you're removing the legacy systems and replacing with new cloud-based platforms?
Yeah, single database, fully integrated, as automated as possible, removing all the manual and necessary work, removing all the ambiguity, the uncertainty, and making sure that our team, we're nearly 600 people for only 5 properties. So assuring that they have as much free time to interact with the guests and to think about the business and the experience, and less about, filling Excel sheets or pushing paper around.
Have you made the selections of what technology you're using yet?
Yeah.
Very nice. Is it, do you have a CIO leading the charge, or are you doing that, or what's happening there?
Well, I select the platforms because, again, because of my background. But we have a CTO in the group. She takes care of all implementation. She does a deep dive. She vets what I select, all that stuff. So, yeah.
What are you guys going to do from an AI perspective with this new tech stack, having a clean database and having a single source of truth for customer data? What are you going to be doing from an AI perspective?
I mean, the boring question is nothing for now.
Okay.
It does allow us to, by having a single database, by having clean, accurate data, that opens a world of opportunity, right? Which before we would use AI to try to make sense of that noise. Now we can actually use that data to do something interesting. So far, we're at a previous step to get to there. But I'm a user of AI. Of all the platforms and some more. I'm enthusiast. I am very optimistic about the world. I think most people are concerned. I think of it as a shovel, a bulldozer, whatever tool you want to call it. It just enhances what we can do. I don't think it's going to replace us. And all of our industries, including the one that we're talking about, has been threatened multiple times, right? Whether it was OTAs on the agency side, it was Airbnb on the hotel side. We're all stronger than we've ever been, right? Because the tools make us better. We need to reinvent ourselves. We need to understand those tools and how to extract better value. I think we're all in the process of trying to understand that. So, again, excited about the future.
Yeah. What's your personal favorite AI agent or solution that you use?
I use ChatGPT the most. I mean, I use Claude, I use Perplexity, I use Gemini. Gemini is actually pretty good on voice.
Yeah.
I play around with the video and image ones. I am super interested on the Google, I think it's a Notebook. Yeah. The new version seems super interesting. I mean, my first startup was in education.
Okay.
And what they just launched for education, it's mind-blowing. I mean, what kids are going to be able to do going forward, provided they have the right orientation, right, the right guidance, it's just transformational. I mean, before you had to learn whatever was fed to you in a piece of paper or something. And now you can design your own path. And if you're more curious, you can go deeper. If you don't understand something, you can ask. I mean, this is transformational.
It is. And it really, I think, from an educational perspective, I have children that, are in elementary school, and the fact that they have these tools that they're able to use to actually enhance their ability to learn things, actually learn more things, right? Because they don't have to do so many things manually anymore. Isn't it amazing, right? So like all the tasks that that we had to do when we were in school, on paper, right? And all the work that you needed to do to get to the solution, instead you can get to the solution instantaneously and then take it to that next leap rather than having to purely, like it's really training, the future in how to think critically and think strategically rather than be doers and constantly have to be spoon-fed something, do X, Y, Z in this order. So, from a people development perspective, I think that's going to be just such an incredible tool for the hospitality industry, honestly,
100%. I think you move from being very tactical, right? So getting things done and like very mechanical into being more strategic thinker, right? You have to learn, the good prompt, right? To use that word it's really strategy, right? What kind of questions do you ask? How do you explain yourself, make yourself clear to the model so they can respond back a clear, concise, intelligent answer, right? And then how can you continue to dig deeper? And if you already know where you want to go, you kind of design that from the get-go, and then the following questions are building in that direction. It opens up the opportunity for much more creativity than you had before, because again, it's the same thing as the tech stack that I was talking about, right? You remove all this mechanical, manual, boring, repetitive stuff, and then your mind is just open, right?
Totally,
You just have so much time and space, and I think for all of us, right, whether it's our kids or our teams or ourselves, the big challenge is to continue to have social skills, right? So I think in the end of the day, once we're all leveled with the use of technology, what really is going to continue to make a difference is social skills, right?
Soft skills, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, for a long time, right, we always used to say, you teach your children to become developers. Don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's like maybe leaders in development, right? Strategic thinkers and leaders in development. But every day, my dev team comes to me and they're able to find solutions that allow them to work and do things that used to take a day in 10 minutes or an hour. Yeah. And I always say that actually allows us to grow. Don't be worried about your job. That allows us to do 50x the work or 20x the work and better work, right? It's strategic work. It's more innovative work. We're able to be better for our clients. We're able to create better solutions for our clients by being able to leverage those tools.
100%. But, I think, platforms like Virtuoso, where we're at now, this is going to continue to have more and more and more value, because this is where you meet people. This is where you get the opportunity to face-to-face, understand who your real partners are. Mm-hmm. And over time, you build trust, because, you go through the good times, you go through the bad times, how people react. And this is invaluable. You will never, ever get that from AI or any other tool.
100%. And what hospitality brings, what travel brings, is connection. I mean, I talk about it all the time, but as we go down this route of technology growth, and we go down this AI road, right? And you already see it even pre sort of the AI tools that we have been introduced to, where it feels like there's this greater and greater separation between reality and virtual, and the fact that humans are going to crave even more than ever connection. So events like this and connection within human beings at the office and in personal, personal experiences is just so critical. It's going to make travel boom even further.
Yep.
So.
I think with capital being more prevalent and more abundant in the world, with technology bringing our technical skills to a level that we've never seen before, and giving us a chance to level up, I think arts, sports, manual work, and experiences are the winners.
100%. Let's go back to the lodges really quick. I'd love to understand. So, what's the individual guide that you provide as part of this experience? I'm sure that's one of the, as you mentioned, differentiators of Awasi. I'd love to. What is that experience like? Who are these guides?
Man, that's a logistical and HR nightmare. In a good sense, right? So, going into the boring stuff first. Just an example in Patagonia, right? We're 14 villas. We have 27 trucks for 14 villas. We have 23 guides or 24 guides.
For 14 villas.
For 14 villas, yeah. The lodge only opens 7 months of the year, right? So during 5 months of the year, it's essentially snow, to your chest. And we are two hours away from an airport. There's no cell phone signal. We're on top of a mountain. We're 30 minutes of dirt road into farmland.
Wow.
So we're super, super, super remote. And a month and a half, 2 months before opening, which is actually right now, those guides are having full training. They're on property, being trained for that amount of time in geography, geology, history, four-wheel drive, security, first response, et cetera. So,
language too, probably, right? English.
Oh, yeah. Well, they normally come already they've known English before,
okay.
So that part is usually taken care of. For the other lodges that open year-round and has a more stable staff, then yes, then we have English, we have Spanish, Portuguese, it depends on where they are. So there's a huge prep that comes with it before we open for the season. Once guests are arriving, we usually try. I mean, our booking window for Patagonia is a year. For other properties is a few months. But for that entire time, when someone has decided to come, or at least is exploring the possibility, and they've actually arrived, there's an infinite exchange of information. Who they are, what are they looking for, what's their fitness status, and so forth and so on. Based on that, we try to determine which guide will be the best person to serve that traveler, and that person's assigned. That guide will pick him up at the airport, bring him to the hotel whenever they have time. And if they like it, they'll sit down for a briefing. He'll open up the maps, tell them a bit of history of the destination, where they are, what are the main points of attraction. Then they start understanding each other, right? How much time do you have? What do you want to see? And based on that, they will design in the moment, right there, what they're going to do for the remaining of that time.
Wow.
And so we call it your space, your pace, right? Which is, you'll normally be somewhere where there's nobody else. You're going to feel the first person who ever step, foot on that place. You'll look 360 degrees. You're not going to see anyone else. And then as you wander through, I don't know, a sand dune, for example, and you turn back, there is a table, right, with your lunch that your guide just prepared for you. And again, you're going to be by yourself having a meal in the desert, for example, and depending on the biome where we're at. And then at the end of your trip, your guide will take you back to the airport. We'll come with you to the check-in counter. We'll give you your boarding pass, and then that part of the trip is finished, right? And then hopefully you move on to another one of our lodges and keep doing that.
That's incredible. And how does that get booked? Is that all part of the experience when you're booking an Awasi experience, or is it later? How does that function?
There are 3 steps to it, right? So the first step is the actual booking, where we have a team based in Santiago, another team in Brazil for Portuguese-speaking people or guests. So there's, again, the several months. There's another team which is reservation operations. It's led by one person in Santiago and then one person per property, which they go into all the details. When are they arriving? What do they like? Do they have any idiosyncrasies? Do they prefer this? Do they have allergy to that, etc.? Making sure that our ducks in a row. And then the third component is once they are arriving, right? Then you have the guides and you have guest service, and there's a big team, right? There's about 100 people on average per property, a little bit more. We're just under 600 for 5.
Okay. What do you use? Do you use any tools for that to keep track of schedules and keep track of all of this? What technology are you using to manage all that? Or is it just clipboards and Excel sheets?
I'm sure people still use it.
They do. That's why I said it.
Yeah. So part of the reason why we moved over to Opera Cloud was to be able to have the best in class PMS that would give us as many tools for that and so much more. On top of that, we have a Chilean software company called Epic Lodge, which is what our guides use the most. We integrate that with the PMS, so the information is always in sync. And then on top of that, our newer CRM, Revinate, also helps us a lot with that because we can get the old database that we have, and then a lot of their preferences and their histories are remain intact in there. So when you go full circle, you can capture all the information pre-arrival, during their stay, like an enormous amount of information, and then we use that to make sure that people stay informed about us and that information is relevant to them.
How about the travel advisor community? I mean, you're here at Virtuoso. You mentioned you'll be at ILTM. What do you guys do for your travel advisors, and how important are they to your business?
We do everything we possibly can and some more, and they're absolutely key to our business. 50% of our business is B2B, and this is prevalently the travel advisor world. We would not be where we are without them. I wouldn't be personally either. I had a tech startup in hotel commission payment, a global platform. So that tells you, I think, how much I care about this industry. And I think the opportunity to learn from them, we always get information, who's doing what matters, what are the trends, what guests like or dislike, how people are thinking, how culture is changing. this level of the quantity and quality of information that we get from them on a daily basis, and more strongly when we're events like this, is important. We would never be able to reach every single ultra high net worth individual by ourselves. And when travel advisors are good at what they do, they help us a lot, right? Because they vet the clients, they select the clients that are the right people. I mean, if you're the kind of person who arrives at one of our properties and you're in high heels and you're wearing makeup and you're expecting to have a butler, you're at the wrong spot. I mean, this is not where you should be. You should be in khaki pants with trailing shoes and a backpack and thinking about your next adventure. So they help a lot with that, right? Setting the expectations is absolutely key. I think for everywhere, right? It doesn't matter where you're going.
Yeah, and that also helps with ensuring that the guest has the experience that they feel has value, right? Because they're paying a lot of money for their experience, and the last thing you want them to do is have a certain expectation in their head that when they arrive there, it's a great experience, but it's different from what they expected, and then they think that they didn't get value, and then you end up with negativity that you don't want.
100%. And when you're doing a direct booking, you have more control over that. So if you don't do a good job, at least it's your fault. When you have a third party involved, that's when usually you get scared because you don't know what that guest has been told. And again, the really good travel advisors will do a phenomenal job at doing that. Oftentimes better than we do, and that helps a lot, right?
Yeah.
So that's critical.
Have you found any tools or technology to help with the feedback loop from travel advisors? So a solution where, as you mentioned, usually the client will tell the advisor before they'll tell you whether they're having a great time or not a great time, and if there's problems, what are those problems? If there's great things, positive feedback, right? They tell the advisor as well before they tell you probably. Have you found any tools to kind of aggregate that? That way you can look for trends across feedback based on what advisors are providing?
That's actually a really good idea.
I shouldn't have said it.
I never even thought about that. I mean, we obviously do that with the guests themselves, but from B2B perspective, it's always been emails, WhatsApp, calls, etc. And you're right. I mean, we often get the information back from the travel advisors way before we hear from the customers themselves. Sometimes you never even hear from the customers.
Exactly.
There's a level of trust and mutual understanding that they've established a relationship over time that helps and facilitates that I think candid conversation between them.
Totally.
And for us, it's awesome, right? Because it's information that perhaps we would have never gotten without them.
Totally. What about partnerships? Do you have any specific partnerships that you want to talk about outside of tech? Experiential partnerships, brand partnerships, anything?
Yeah. So we just announced a partnership with Ineos Grenadier. We are replacing our entire fleet in Chile, both Atacama and Patagonia, with Ineos Grenadier trucks. We're importing them ourselves from the factory in France into Chile, so another logistical nightmare.
They're fun.
They're amazing.
Great BMW engines in them, and they're but that kind of classic, almost Land Rover, Defender style. It's awesome.
Yeah, it looks
Fun
indestructible. The engine is powerful.
Oh, it's
the
a beast.
car is amazing. I mean, I'm their number one fan, so we're super excited about that.
Okay.
We also announced a partnership with Patagonia, the clothing brand. Yeah, I mean they're from Ventura, right next to Santa Barbara, where I live. So there's that connection.
Yeah.
So on top of uniforms for our guides and the shops, we're doing content together. We've offered them all of our locations for them to test drive their products. We are co-investing in certain environmental efforts, NGOs with them. So it's the beginning of what we hope to be a very long partnership.
Fantastic! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nicolas, thanks for joining me on Luxury Travel Innovators. I always finish with a few rapid-fire questions to conclude our interview. What personal travel are you most excited about next?
Oh, my vacations.
Where are you going?
I'm going to the Mentawai Islands in Indonesia. I'm a surfer.
Okay.
I've been going to Indonesia since 1999, and I'm in desperate need for a surf break.
Amazing. Sounds incredible. When are you going?
Now, 26th of August.
Oh, have fun.
Thank you.
There's only, one more day of Virtuoso, and then you're on your way.
Yep,
All right.
exactly.
Perfect. The show's all about innovation and moving forward, but for a moment, I like to ask my guests to step back for a minute. And I say, what do you miss, or what do you imagine you would miss or missed with the glamorous days of travel? So, in the past, when travel felt a little bit easier, let's say, it's more accessible now, right? But you had more time back in the day, and everything felt like it moved a little slower. What do you miss about that?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I think if you're getting the right support, the right information, this is the best time ever to be traveling. Of course, if you're going to Florence, you're going to be fighting with a gazillion people on the street, right? So from that perspective, maybe it was better, 150 years ago, but you would never be able to go to, this is being, I guess, self-serving, but you wouldn't be able to go to Atacama, to Patagonia, to Santa Catarina, etc., Mendoza, that long ago. Right?
Couldn't get there.
It's just too complicated. It would take too long. You wouldn't get the information. You would have, subpar would be an understatement. Kind of experience. So today you're able to explore the world and optimize your time, optimize your experience, because of everything we've built, right? It's infrastructure, it's the technology, it's the knowledge. I think this is the best time to be traveling.
Yeah, amazing. And then, of course, to conclude, it's all about moving forward. So what innovation in travel doesn't exist today that you think is missing? Doesn't have to be tech. It could be a product, a solution, etc.
A good platform to pay hotel commissions. Yeah. But I spent 3 years trying to build that. So, yes, I'm obsessed about that part.
And sounds like there's still opportunity there.
Yeah, there are people.
Go back to it.
No, there are people doing a good job, and I'm super excited. There's several people trying several different approaches. It's a very hard industry because it's a small market. It moves extremely slow. Adoption rate is very slow. So it takes someone that has a lot of capital, a lot of patience. But eventually someone's going to break through, and I think this is important because this is a very minor noise that became a big problem, right? Over 20%, people say between 20 and 40% of commissions are never ever paid. The average payout time is at least 3 months after guest departure, right? Some of those bookings were made a year in advance, so it means that if you're an advisor, you're getting paid a year and a half after, and
Can't live like that.
You're losing 20 to 30% of your top line. I mean, can you imagine? Like, no other industry works like that. So I would love to see that solved. And again, right, releasing that time for people to be creative, to serve their clients, to go about and go surfing. I mean, whatever you want to do with that time.
Just like you.
Yep.
Thank you, Nicolas. Appreciate your time.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching this episode of Luxury Travel Innovators. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. See you next time.